remove the. Oh my God, I'm blind. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Project Submissions and Presentations Workshop. First things first, I'm going to kind of go over the Git, some of the Git, because you guys are going to have to build your own repository. Part of Devpost is you have to submit your code. So I'll walk you through how to do that, how to set your repository if you haven't already. First things first, if y'all don't know what GitHub is or how GitHub works at all, super quick and easy. I think this is your. This link goes to one of your old GitHub workshops.
Oh, okay.
This Go link is super easy. Walks you through like every step you need to take of like how to use Git. You can it's definitely recommended. Give it a second. 5. As well, first things first, make a GitHub account. Go to github.com. You can make a GitHub account there. You can probably just log in with your Google. I think you can just log in with your Google account and it creates everything immediately for you. When you do that, you should be able just to see this button that says Create Repository. Create your new repository. This is where you're going to put your code for your project. Make sure that so make sure that this is set to public. We want to be able to see this. Judges need to see this. If it's set to private, you're gonna get a DM on Discord saying to make it unprivate. So you don't want the extra DM to keep track of. As well, name it something cool. Name it whatever your project is. Make yourself distinct. Add a description if you want to as well. Like this is stuff that you get to show off to like recruiters or people that like, hey, here's my resume. Like here's my GitHub as well. Like the recruiters do look at this stuff for like technical. And then if you don't want to go through all the Git issues and you have just a collection of files, you just have a collection of like Python or like JavaScript files, and you don't want to go through Git, easiest way is to just hit this upload an existing file button. When you do this, it will take you to this screen, and it's just drag and drop. We just need to see your code. Doesn't have to be in the exact structure. We just need to see that there's code that you wrote that is there. Just want to make sure that y'all like wrote the code like only during the hackathon, not before, not after. And then once you add them here, commit your changes down at the bottom, and then you'll see this screen. So it'll show, hey, here's everything you submitted on that screen. You'll go through repository, hit the add. If you have extra stuff you want to add, new file you had, last thing you wanted to change, you can just add it to this as well. Add file under code. Yeah, you can use repository link. Yeah, and then if you hit, it's at the top of this actually. You can just send us. There'll be your. Let me see. Let me see if I can go to GitHub. Oh my God, I'm blind. So when you go to GitHub, I am using Arc, so this looks different. Go to your URL and copy and paste that URL, and that goes to your Devpost. I'll show you where to put it in your Devpost. Back to this. Yeah. Any quick questions about GitHub, how the repos work, where you need to put code? All good. Sounds good. All right, a little bit more complicated part probably, to be honest, for your Devpost. So how many of y'all have already submitted your Devpost at midnight? You did? Raise your hand. Okay, that'll be fine. If you guys did submit on Devpost already, here's the Devpost link. I don't think that Go link goes. Where's that Go link go? Did I go to the old one? Ignore this Go link. Just go to devpost.com and Google Rowdy Hack, or like type in Rowdy Hacks and look for the one that has the Hack of the Future badge on it. Yeah, that's fine. I think I created it last year on my own. But either way, here for not be confusing, let me remove this. Remove this. Okay. I don't want to confuse y'all. Yeah. Join the hackathon. Go to Devpost. Find this Rowdy Hacks the Future. I think that's what it's called. Rowdy Hacks X. Look for Rowdy Hacks X. That's the name of the hackathon. Join the hackathon. You'll be taken to you'll join everything. You'll see a new tab that says My Projects. Under the My Projects tab, you'll create your project. So this is where you actually show everything you want. This is where your project actually is. So you'll create your project. You'll go through. If you guys have teammates, this is where you add your teammates. You can just send them an email. Easiest way to do it. As well, you can always add your teammates later. If you absolutely need, if you're for whatever reason, you can't add your teammates at that current time, you can just send them a link later and they can get added to Devpost after judging or later on in the day. You can also send them the link. There's this super secret invite link. You can just send them this invite link as well. All right. Now here's for the project details. First question that we're going to ask is what's your project? Tell us the about of the project. This is under project details. I think project overview is just the general name. What's the name of your project? Make it unique. I actually recommend. Please make your team name unique. It saves judging because there's definitely some times I've done judging where two people have the same exact name, and it gets a little confusing for the judges. But yeah, under project details, right where you did for the hackathon. Listen, you spent 24 hours making a project. Talk about it, show it off. I will say recruiters definitely there's some companies on Devpost that will look at this stuff and they'll read through what they do for our different technologies. Okay, this is the important part. For the people that submitted at midnight, did y'all enter the sponsored special prizes? I think this is required, so you had to do this. But did you guys update this with whatever tracks and challenges you all are doing? So if y'all know the challenges being Hack to the Future or Best Use of what's that? The login one? Propel? I think it's Propel. Propel off. Best Use of Propel off. Any of the MLH MLH prizes, this is where this is under. So under sponsor and special prizes, everything you want to submit for the prizes of here's what I did. I used Propel Auth or I used Grok. Put it here. This is how we know. Otherwise, if you don't, you're not going to be considered for that track, for that challenge. Then as well, your GitHub links at the bottom of this page here. Like how I mentioned, get that GitHub link from GitHub. Put it here. This is where it goes. Make sure it's here. Make sure it's also the up-to-date one that's current. That's current. If y'all submitted at midnight, there's probably a 50% chance that GitHub repo is no longer the correct repo. Just check to make sure. And then fill this out. Make sure you did it. You submitted. Good to go. Everything's good for that. That should be everything for this. Any questions about Devpost? I know it's I kind of dumped a lot of information on y'all. If you have any questions for that, perfect. If there's no questions, all right. Judging process. All right. Who here is is this your first hackathon you've ever been to? Oh, that's good. It's crazy that there's been 2 in 1 year and there's still people that it's the first hackathon. So, how many of y'all know how judging at hackathon works? I assume none of y'all do. But the people that raise their hands probably don't really know. Judging process, I'll get into that more later, but for what you're going to be graded on. Now, you're not going to get a 0 to 100 score like in school, right? That's too much. We don't want that on y'all. We were looking just to see if y'all learned anything. Y'all had a fun time. That seems also a little too stressful. So for the judging process, we're going to be looking at a couple things. I think 4 things specifically. So that one's going to be business value. So what was the problem? What was the problem that you fixed? What did you solve? And that's something in the pitch, in the presentation. Whether you make slides, you don't have to make slides, but if you do make slides, it's always nice to at least say have a problem statement of here's what our problem was in 1 sentence. It could also be a personal experience of hey, I went through this. I wanted to make this application because I wanted to make my life more efficient. That's a problem statement. As well, blah, 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 problem you're facing, solving. Yeah. So that's for business value. And then impact. This is your wow factor. This is where you get to be you. I know y'all probably like, I don't know if anyone here probably got more than 8 hours of sleep over the hackathon. I doubt that's the case. I know it's hard to get the energy, but this is where you can kind of like use that last bit of energy, like grab a Red Bull before you're judging, and like use that last bit of energy to kind of like be like, hey, here's what I did. This is like this really cool thing I did. Like, is this some fresh approach to an old idea? Like, what is that wow factor? A lot of it too is like, hey, like we made like, let's say you made something that already exists, that you would think already exists, some like problem that existed forever, but it's like, yeah, but this problem has existed, but this is how it's been done before. But you know what? Like this is how it's been done before, but we want to do something different. So this is how we made this different. Expect the brand, never heard of, masterpiece idea. And then next is going to be realistic. Is this realistic? Is this a realistic application? Is this something that like someone can use later on? Or is it just something like, like I didn't expect anyone to use this, or like I didn't really think of anyone ever wanting to use this. It doesn't mean that like the code you wrote is practical and like realistic, because it's a hackathon. We don't expect the code to be like 100% running. But is the general idea and solution I came up with realistic? Is this something that's scalable? Is this something that someone can really like use in their real life? And then finally, innovation. Is this something new? Again, like this kind of goes hand in hand with that impact. What is that wow factor? What makes you new? As well, this is also the area where you can kind of go into like, hey, I learned something new. Again, innovation is also learning. You learn when you innovate. So what did you learn? That's like honestly one of the biggest things in the hackathon. Like, say what you learned. I know it's like also I know it's hard of like, oh man, I learned like, you're like, I don't know what I learned. I know like 1 o'clock I blacked out for 5 hours and like I woke up again and now I'm like, there's like a bunch of code I wrote and I don't remember how I got here. Go through your old links. I mean, you learned something over this 24-hour period. So like talk about it. Whether it's, hey, I learned how to code in this specific language, or hey, this is my first hackathon. I've never like really had the opportunity to even do present and do a judge, present my project. That's also a learning experience. Or the idea of too, coming up with a solution to a problem and like identifying a problem and then again, coming up with that solution. That's also something you can talk about. If y'all made Figmas or like some sort of like mock-up designs, even whether it's on a whiteboard or in PowerPoint or in Canva, like show those off as well. Those are good learning points. Like that's used in the industry. And then judging process. So judging process, who's been to a science fair in high school or in like middle school? Has anyone been to a science fair? Okay. So it's that exact same style. You're sitting you're just at a desk with your computer screen with your code running on it or your slides, whatever you have set up. Judges will walk up to you, like they'll just walk up to you. I think do you know if there's like a minimum for amount of judges that everyone's gonna get? Usually, sometimes it's 3. I don't know. We'll try to give you all at least 3 judges to come by and ask what you guys are working on. But it'll be 3-minute presentations. They'll walk up and say, hey, what you do over the weekend? You have 3 minutes to, hey, here's what my idea is. Go through a demo, show off whatever's like the cool thing you want to show off. You know, really make the judges are here to like, they're donating their time, but they do this because they enjoy kind of being part of the community. So build off of that. Have a fun time with it. Don't be super stressed about it. Like again, everyone's here to have fun. You'll have teams who will present multiple times. You'll usually present 1 judge at a time. Sometimes multiple judges will show up at once if these happen to show up all at once. But you'll get 1 judge. That judge will go off. You get time to like deliberate a little bit. Like, okay, we can probably change this part in our presentation, change this part. And then after that, another judge will probably come by maybe 5 minutes later. Yeah. And then the other thing, round robin style, so judges will be moving around. And then deliberation after, I think it's 2 hours of judging. After that 2 hours of judging, the judges will go off and deliberate for an hour of like, okay, here's what the best ones were. Here's the ones I liked. Here's the ones that were super cool. Like they'll find whichever ones are like their top ones. And then at 4:30 they'll do closing ceremonies. So pretty quick. We're going to try to get you all out of here as fast as possible. I'm sure. I think hopefully don't kick. Do they kick you all out of the building at 6 like they always do? Yeah. So we're going to try to get through this fast because we want to be sure we can also pack up for the event as fast as well. I know y'all are also tired, so y'all can go home and sleep. I think that's everything for this slides. Yeah. Any questions? I know there's always questions about judging or presentations, or even too, if y'all are like, I don't know how to like do presentations, like what can I do? I can also help with that. I've done probably, I think I presented at like 8 hackathons. Yeah, I think I presented 8 hackathon projects. That's actually kind of crazy to say, but like I will say your first one's always the most stressful, but it is really fun. As well, I do encourage y'all to like practice a couple times ahead of time. Honestly, even like walk up to like your neighbor, like your like whoever, because you'll be at tables. I think they're gonna do table numbers, right? You guys are having table numbers. Like when you guys find your table, like talk to the person next to you, like, hey, what's your project? Like do some like soft like just do a little bit of practice like with each other. It's pretty easy to like do that. It's more calming. They're not the judge. They're not going to grade you. It's a good first trial. They can help you all out. And then judges come by. You'll be prepared. They'll follow the kind of judging criteria. Again, just have fun with it. Tell them what you learned. Tell them. I mean, it's a 24-hour hackathon. What you guys do over the 24 hours? I think that's everything though. If you have any questions or need help with your presentations, please find me. I'll be walking around probably on the second floor for today or for the rest of today. Or ping me on Discord. I'm Elijah, so I'm a mentor. Just look for the raccoon, the spinny raccoon on Discord. That's everything. If y'all don't have any other questions, y'all are good to go. If y'all have questions, you can also, I'll be up here for a little bit, so you can just ask me some questions after as well. Sounds good?